shit. Here we go again.
And we are back. Episode 6 of Roster Review is here. It's going to be a cracker. I've got 4 pretty decent squads to look at. For those of you who are new to the series, I'm T. I take community suggested rosters and I rank them on a tier list, essentially. I explain my thoughts about them. I'd say what I like, what I don't like, what could have been different. Before we get into this, I've got a new format for these videos, so returning viewers, tell me what you think. Leave a comment telling me what squads you want to see in next week's episode. This series comes out every Sunday. Our first team comes from Mirzach, or you might know him as the Balkan Zipniks, or the 60 FPS God. His team is a Balkan super team called Team So Easy. It features Nexa, Hunter, Nico, Poison, and IM. Of course, when you have a team with a lineup like this, you expect big things. They have a shit ton of skill. Do they have what it takes to be elite contenders though? Poison is coming back from his illness. Even before the illness, he was never the most consistent player, capable of hitting flashy shots, sure, but not the most reliable. He does have his off days. He plays for Nexus, for those of you who don't know, who is a relatively unheard of Romanian team. Has some potential as a rifler. He is pretty skilled, a bit unproven, especially when it comes to the higher level where this team wants to compete. Hunter and Nico need no introduction. They're basically the same guy. I am slightly worried about their synergy. We've seen so far on G2 they haven't been the most impressive as a combo. Nico's signing has caused Hunter's numbers to plummet to the point where he's not really the same player he used to be. And this is, as I referred to earlier, because of how similar they are. They play similar spots, they play in similar ways. Having both of them on the team might limit your team's ceiling, as one of these two players is always going to be slightly limited by the fact that they're giving up space to the other one. Nexa is the fragging IGL on this team, and it's quite a well-rounded team. In terms of the depth of skill on offer, the only issue I have really is, could this team play as a unit? That's something that has to be considered, right? Couldn't this team function as a 5? This team is really missing for me like a more passive, supportive, clutch player. So a Mezzi, a Zipex, maybe Mirzach should sign up for this team. But yeah, it's good. Don't get me wrong. Just not sure they'd be elite contenders. That's why for me, the Balkan super team isn't going into elite contenders. It's going to solid top 10, just above the Villamix, just below OG2. Up next is a squad from our most regular contributor, Adam Zelinka. He has put forward the absolutely alpha aggressive AIM team. This roster is Config, Art, Apex, Yekindar, and Stewie2K. Now, it's a bit of a meme, obviously, because these guys all made their names as entry fraggers, the guys who run out, take a lot of duels. It's weird to try and balance this team out in terms of who could actually play the more supportive roles. Stewie2K would definitely be down for taking a step back. We've seen it on Liquid. He's taken more supportive roles, more passive roles. He's not always been the guy running in. Apex, Config, Art, Yekindar. Oh my god, this team is absurd. This kind of team would be absolutely insane to watch in a real game. I'm sure they'd be one of the more exciting teams to watch in the world, especially with the skill level of guys like Yekindar, Config. Sure, Apex might not be the superstar he used to be, but he's still capable of big performances. We come back to the same issue though. No one on this team is really known for how clutch they are, or their ability to make good mid to late round decisions. That's why they're always running out and dying. We're going to stick them right next to the Balkans, just below the Balkan team. They do have some problems in terms of overlapping roles, let's say, because they're all basically playing the same role. So I'll stick them just beneath the Balkan mix. But still, would be an incredibly fun team to watch and would probably give a lot of teams a good scare. Our third squad comes from Azna Huki. They have taken a player from FaZe, a player from Mouse Sports, a player from OG, from G2, and from Complexity. No one from Cloud9 because, well, with 2 British players, you don't really count as a European super team, do you? So the lineup they've gone with: Twists, Rops, Mantu, Nico, and BlameF. Quite a team in terms of the level of skill, there's no denying that. Immediately there's an issue though. Nico is the closest thing this team has to a entry. Twists and Rops have been playing as closers recently. Mantu's Europa. BlameF tends to go in second or third. He's a trade fragger. Would like a more supportive element on there. Just from the teams we've got, maybe instead of picking up Twists, you pick up Rain. Maybe instead of Rops, you take Frozen. Maybe for someone who's more, aggro-focused, someone who's willing to die. It's a tough one. It's really a tough one for me, this one. I want to love it, but the role clash is really bad on this team. Twist, Rops, Blame F, coexisting like this, I'm not sure it'd work. You're missing a Rush, you're missing a NBK, someone like that. So on the tier list, they're also going to come into the solid top 10. I think this lot, they are the most skilled team of the three so far, I think, and they have our final team of this episode actually comes from me. So I had this idea come to me whilst watching Katowice. I was like, we talk about the Balkans, we talk about Scandinavia, the Nordics. Why not the Baltics? For those who don't know, so our American viewers out there, the Baltics are Latvia, Estonia, and Lithuania. Three pretty small nations with not really very many good teams in terms of five-man rosters. But scattered across all the different teams in Europe and CIS, you can find a good number of them. I stuck together this roster. Rops, Yekindar, Broki, Bimas, and Kalinka. So let me justify a couple of these choices. Rops, Yekindar, and Broki need no introduction, need no explaining. They're the best at what they do from these countries, opening, closing, and AWPing. Bimas is here because I needed a guy who'd be willing to do the dirty work, who'd take the bitch positions, play the anchor, play the hard entry if needed, which wouldn't be so much on this team, but still, do those things that are less glamorous, and Bimas has shown a pretty decent ability to do that so far on the mouse sports. Kalinka is the IGL. Trying to find an IGL from this region was tough, and in my opinion, Kalinka was the best on offer. But still, I think with this group of really young, really high-level players behind him, he could probably achieve some things. Recently, he's been playing on pretty weak teams with not so great talent. This group of players would be a treat for him to play with. Now, of course, I've got to put this team on the tier list. It's just a question of how biased I want to be. I'm going to put this team all the way up here. I was very close to putting them in elite contenders, but I knew I'd get absolutely roasted for it. But instead, I'll leave them just at the top end of solid top 10. That's all for this one. Please leave a comment telling me who you want to see next week. Links to my socials are in the description. Follow me on Twitter for regular updates. Follow me on Twitch for regular shithousery. That's all I can describe my streams as. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and sub if you want to see more. That's all for this one. Goodbye.